morning, I'm going to show you 4 different ways that you can find what big money is doing. Let's go. So for me, calls and puts was too much information. It was literally hundreds of views of option plays every hour coming through. So the first place you can get this information for free is right here. Shift search. Say that 3 times fast. It's a very clean screen and they have 2 options. The first is screen. It accumulates any trade that was executed on a computer. The next is block. Much larger trades executed by hedge funds or institutional investors. You have 3 different options. You can do both together or you can do them separately. Here's what it looks like if you do screen only. You can see that the number 1 options category is EFA. If you do block only, you can see that the number 1 call options is EEM. And you can see that the volume has increased by almost 300% since yesterday. So for the first category of puts, EFA, we can see came up against this resistance right here. So I placed a trade. It makes sense with this RSI rolling over. Now for the calls, EEM. Depending on your trading strategy, maybe you see this resistance line, and if EEM breaks through, those calls would be a great play, possibly up into these highs. But that's not my trading strategy, so I'm not going to take this trade. If the calls came in around these lows, with the RSI being low, I would consider taking the trade, but not right here. And that's why you got to be careful with alert surface. It has to match your picture of what you see and how you think the market should play out based on your experience of results. Next is trade flash. If you're a Thinkorswim user, when you open this little arrow, you'll see the plus sign. You select on which gadget you want. This one is trade flash. The information is provided by Hammerstone Markets. Their first call started around 7 o'clock in the morning. It showed that UPS would be up 8%, GameStop would be up 7%, and sure enough, GameStop went up 7%, but it didn't come into any resistance. It was just an alert of what the stock was doing, giving you all this pre-market analysis, letting you select the best of the best. Up 5%, up 8%, up over 30%, up 11%, just the best. Then once market opened at 9:30, you can see all the shares started to be traded. Large equity trade against GE, sell almost 5 million shares. And what do we see? Market starting to sell off and break that resistance. All that 5 million has to do is stay below this 1350 mark, and they're making millions of dollars. This shows you large equities being bought and sold, single put options on QQQ, and even vertical spread trades on AMT. Wouldn't you like to buy right here, just duplicating their trade, high RSI? Well, you can just by following these trades over here. Earlier we talked about EEM, and here you are, EEM. Look at all this put action on Ford. Some are in September, some are quick as June. I like what they're thinking. You have this topping pattern on Ford. Using these highs, you see that we come into resistance. Seems like a good place to make a trade. Another way to find out those hot pre-market movers is Bazinga. Pre-market, it lets you have the choice of gainers or losers, depending on which direction you like to buy. Have you ever heard the saying, buy the rumor, sell the news? Well, this is that. This is big news moves. If you were looking at losers, that would be buy the dip. So depending on your trading strategy, let's look at gainers. We'll focus in on these 3 and see what happens. Here we are in FCBP. Draw the support line, move it over. Voila, where are you at? Against resistance. What do you do at resistance? Sell the news. Do you have a high RSI? Yep, that was quick and easy and free. DMTK, downtrend. Against resistance, sell the news. GMBL, same thing, coming up against resistance, but not quite. So I didn't take this trade. RSI is still a little bit low also. Last way I like to find free information about options is bar chart unusual options action. Screen would look like this. Scroll down and you'll find vol/OI. Make sure that it has a high number. By double clicking, it went from 1 to 45. Let's take a look at these options. Beyond Meat, KSU, UPS. Let's see what they say. So here we are on Beyond Meat and it's having this rounding formation. Maybe those options were for the upside move. Buying the dip. Here we are on KSU. You can see had a huge up run, high RSI, but we're making a divergence. This could be a great place to buy some puts. Depending on how you like to place your lines, seems like we're up against resistance on UPS. Also making a divergence, this seems like a good place to buy some puts. I have nothing against calls or puts as a website, but you just found 4 different scenarios that gave you great options to buy up against resistance or support, or even a possibility of making new or higher highs on a breakout. Use these websites. Tell me in the comments what you think. I'm glad you came to our channel.